I'm just getting the other one up. Here we go. And we are live. Welcome today, everybody. It's Elisa James from the Voice of Confidence TV. And today we're going live across a few different channels. This is on StreamYard, and we're going live on Facebook, on the Voice of Confidence TV in YouTube, and also on Instagram today. So hello, everybody. I'm still getting used to going across 3 places. So I'm learning the tech and moving forward every single week. So excuse me if it's not perfect yet. I'm not a techie queen. However, I do give value, and I make sure that I'm serving my clients at the very highest level that I can. Now, today it's all about you. I'm here to answer 3 questions every single Wednesday that I receive on my channel. So on my channel, which is called the Voice of Confidence TV, and if you're watching this in YouTube and Facebook, you'll see that that's ticker taping across the bottom. When I go live, I always answer those 3 questions. So one of my lights just went dead. Fabulous. One of these fabulous things that happens. Now, back to business. This is 3 questions from my channel. The very first question is all about if food affects your voice. And yes, it absolutely does. So stick around. I'm going to answer that shortly. The second one is, I'm really self-conscious about the way I laugh. What can I do? This is another question that I'm going to answer. And the third one is, I have a strained voice and I speak from my chest. So I'm going to give you the direct answers of those questions, and they might be a little bit different to what you think that they are. So let's dive into the very first question. And the very first question from Hee Seungs on YouTube, she's said, or he, I'm not quite sure if it's a male or female, he said, if food affects the skin, does it affect the voice at the same time? And the answer is absolutely yes. Now, this person has also stated later on in the comments that they have a lot of trouble with lots of food allergies. So their whole family suffers from really, really bad food allergies. So what I would suggest is this, Hee Seungs, this is what you're going to do. You're going to start what's called an elimination diet. Now, what we have to do first is find out which foods affect our body, our mind, and our voice. And the only thing that you can do is start to eliminate things out of your diet, and then also keep a journal. I call it a food diary. Keep a food diary and write down every single thing that you eat. I know that's a bit of a pain, but it's just if you have a little notebook and carry around the notebook, every single thing that you eat, you're going to write down. Then an hour after you've consumed that food, what I want you to do is write down how it made you feel. So for instance, if I have a coffee in the morning and then afterwards I have some breakfast, and in my breakfast, say I've run out of oat milk or almond milk, and I put real milk in my breakfast instead of the other alternate milks, I know guaranteed for the next hour I'm going to be going and trying to get rid of the mucus that's on my vocal folds. It's a real pain. And I know that happens after milk because of all the food diaries and all the elimination I've done over the years. So what I would suggest is that you do exactly the same thing and find out what is causing you grief. Now, it could be something as simple as this. If when you're eating something, within an hour you get a blocked up nose, that's a really big one for people too. I used to get a blocked up nose after a glass of wine, after a piece of cheese, after a pasta, things like that. So I know what gives me a blocked up nose and makes me feel gluggy in the back of my throat. As long as you know for yourself what is upsetting your body, then you can start to eliminate that, or at least eliminate that before you go and speak or sing. And a lot of people on my channel speakers, singers, or actors. They could be speakers, singers, or actors. And let's face it, we are all voice users. We are all professional voice users, whether you like to admit it or not. Unless you are a mime artist, then you are a voice user. Most of us use our voice for our living. We speak every day. We join meetings at work. We have to do presentations. We coach clients. We use our voice for business every single day and in every relationship we have. So look after your best asset. It's the best thing that you can do. is look after your best asset. Now, I know that it seems like a lot of work doing that food journal, Hee Seungs, but I tell you what, it absolutely works. So try it for yourself. Go and write your food journal, and afterwards, after you eat, remember, go back to your food journal for 1 hour after you eat. Go straight back and write down how you feel. Do you feel more mucus? Do you feel like it's a bit harder to swallow? Do you feel that maybe your nose is congested? Are you sluggish? Are you sleepy? And here's a really interesting tip. If you take your pulse a little while, say 30 minutes after you've eaten something that you suspect you might be allergic to, your pulse will actually slow down if you're allergic to it. Super interesting, isn't it? So check your pulse and check your congestion and check to see if there's a glugginess or a lump in the back of the throat. So I'm on StreamYard today, and because I'm on StreamYard and I'm on Facebook and YouTube, I can actually see the comments coming in. Now, I also have a special announcement. I will go live later on today to let you know who won the prize from last week. I was giving away $500 worth of training, and 3 people responded to the particular courses that they wanted, and I'll be announcing those on my channel later on today. I just need to message everyone first. So let's go straight to the comments here on StreamYard and inside Facebook and YouTube. Hi, good morning, Ice. Thank you so much for joining us. And good point of food elimination and food diary. Yes, it is super, super important, especially for any children that are having behavioral issues. So for instance, when my son was little, he was diagnosed with ADHD, the hyperactivity disorder of lack of focus. And I found that there was a correlation between food coloring and certain types of sugars and carbs with behavioral issues. I did a lot of research about that, and that was one of the reasons I went on to do a degree in nutrition afterwards, because I was so fascinated about the relationship between food, the mind, and the body. So when I eliminated specific food colorings from his diet, including sugars and anything with a coloring and packaged foods, he changed completely. He used to have panic attacks at a really young age and be really, really stressed about things. So when I eliminated those, his behavior and his mind really, really, really improved. It was quite amazing. Now we've got another one here. Charlie, ramble on. Thank you for joining us here on YouTube. I'll practice daily to improve my voice. How long before I notice the results? Great to have you here live, Charlie. That means that you've tuned in live and you've asked me the question live. So I'm going to answer this question and then answer the other 2 questions straight afterwards. So Charlie, improvement of voice. Now, here's the thing. Can you finish this sentence? Practice makes what? Practice makes, write it down. It's not what you think. Practice does not make perfect. I want you to write this down. It does not ever make perfect. It makes permanent. Here's the problem with that, Charlie. When practice makes permanent, it means that if you're practicing something the wrong way, it's not going to improve or put you towards your goals. It's going to just solidify and automate something that may not be right for you. So without hearing your voice and seeing what you're practicing, I'm not quite sure if you're practicing the right way or what you're practicing the right way. So here's the thing. I need a little bit more information, Charlie. If you want to strengthen your voice because your voice is weak, or if it's too airy, then be specific in the comments so I can actually point you in the right direction. If you're still here and you are live, please tell me what specifically you're trying to fix, and then I'll be able to give you a quick fix on this live cast today. Now, if I can't do it today, then put in the comments exactly what it is that you're struggling with, and I will gladly shoot another video for my content for my channel next week for you answering that question. I'm always happy to shoot new content, so please, anything that you put in the comments, that gives me inspiration on what to actually shoot for my channel. And I shoot a brand new pre-recorded video every single week, and it's uploaded midnight Tuesday, Wednesday. So anything that you like that you need answering, just pop it in the chat. So great. Yes, food journal for my voice. Yes, it actually works. It's really, really important. And somebody from Facebook has said, I can't see your name, unfortunately, because you didn't allow StreamYard to see the comments. So make sure that underneath this video, you always allow StreamYard to see the comments so I know who you are. It's all about gut and the connection to the brain. Yes, absolutely. We all need to be much more well-versed about nutrition. We all need to be watching our bodies, because you know why some people age faster than others, and some people look angrier than others, and some people have weaker bodies and more fat than other people? It's because they're not looking after their body to the very highest level. And yes, it does start with gut health. Whoever you are, I know you're probably a naturopath or a health coach. I would love to interview you on my channel and have you as my guest on my Friday show. So let's connect afterwards. I absolutely love the food correlation with voice and also with mindset, with brain function, focus. Absolutely. That's why I studied nutrition. Oh, here we are. Charlie's gotten back to me. It's too much monotone. Okay, great. Charlie, so let's answer the monotone question. So Charlie is one of my fans on my YouTube channel, and he's just said that he's got too much monotone in his voice. Now, here's the thing. Monotone is created by two things. Listen up and take notes. The very first thing is it's created by nerves and anxiety. Lots of people, and let me explain, because this is a little complicated. When you've had something happen to you in the past that's really affected your life. So for instance, for me, because I had this, Charlie, I know all about this. I was in post-traumatic stress is what was happening to me at the time. When I was bullied very, very, very badly and abused as a child, and it was a very difficult situation. Then in Australia, it was normal. It was what happened. Nobody did anything about it in those days, and you had to just continue on your life. But I didn't realize how much of an effect it had on me until years and years passed, because I was very anxious. I was constantly worried about things. My adrenals were firing all the time. And here's the problem about that. I work with a lot of people who have the same issue. When your adrenals are constantly pumping out adrenaline, what happens is you get adrenal fatigue. Adrenal fatigue is when your adrenal glands are absolutely depleted because they've just been pumping, over pumping adrenaline, because you are in a state of anxiety for a lot of time. When that happens, we have undiagnosed PTSD, sometimes post-traumatic stress disorder, which is what I had. I had no idea that I had this. I wasn't sleeping. I would wake up with panic attacks. I would have flashes of awful things going on in my mind the whole time, as though somebody was, stabbing, or, just awful things. I won't go into it. But that constant state of alert led me into adrenal fatigue. So Charlie, when somebody's in adrenal fatigue, we go flatline. When you go flatline, you no longer have adrenaline to pump you up and get you excited. So then everything in life becomes flatline. And this is exactly what happened to me. And I didn't even know. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel excitement. I couldn't laugh. I couldn't get hyped up about anything. I was just literally flatline. So when you're flatline, you end up speaking like that in the same tone the whole time, because you don't have the energy, you don't have the enthusiasm, don't feel like anything's good in life, blah, blah, blah. I used to literally speak like that. So it gets stuck in the throat, it goes low in pitch, and then you just bottom out as though you are a depressed zombie. And when you speak like that, nobody's going to listen to you, because you're not very inspiring when you speak like that. It's just really boring. So you see what I mean? So when we get our energy back, when we get our mindset right, we actually have more energy, enthusiasm, and confidence in our body from internally, not externally. So I know that was a really long answer, Charlie, but number one is we've got to understand our mindset and what's happened in the past and why we're adrenally fatigued. I absolutely went and got that sorted with my naturopath and got onto support system with herbs and vitamins and things like that to fix my adrenal fatigue, and also did lots of meditation, chanting, dancing. I did all sorts of stuff and changed my life. Now, the second part of this equation is this habit. When we're at a flatline habit, habitually speaking in monotone, we are just used to that way of speaking. And here's the thing, when I've helped one of my other students in the past, and this has actually happened a lot, but this was a very particular time. I was teaching her live in the studio in Sydney. She was traveling, between countries at the time, sought me out, wanted to get something fixed. And it was definitely one of those situations where she was sort of flatline and sort of speaking like that from the back of her throat. And nobody was paying attention to her when she spoke. What I did is I showed her how her voice worked, and I helped her project really powerfully. And we made some really big noises together. And surprisingly, what happened is when she felt and heard her own voice being projected out of her body in such a magnificent way, she got a fright and she fell to the ground crying. This is what happens because it's so odd for some people. It's so different when they suddenly feel that release of tension and energy and anxiety. They're not used to making that big sound. If you've sung or spoken like a little mouse, like this, and then when you sing, you sort of hold it back, and then you sing really quiet. Well, if you're used to that, your body gets used to that behavior. It becomes a habit. So if you suddenly go, I'm in the deep end, it's like, oh my God, it's a really big noise. It's scary for people. It seriously is, because guess what? Somebody might hear you. Somebody might pay attention to you. And that's really scary for some people that have been hiding for a very long time. Monotone is just another way to hide. When you're using the same tone at a low pitch and a throaty placement, it's a way to hide, because people won't see you or hear you if you're hiding and speaking like that, because it's really hard to pay attention to someone who's flatlining. So I hope that that's helped you today, Charlie. Go and start working on moving that tone, building that confidence muscle, building the energy into your voice, fixing your mindset, meditating. All of those things will really, really, really help you. So work on that, and that will help you move forward much, much faster. Now, let's go back to the other two questions, because I promised my fans that I would answer these questions today. Now, Kyle says, I am self-conscious about my laugh. Will voice training help me with this? Now, again, this is sort of a similar situation, Kyle. When somebody's self-conscious about their laugh, usually they'll be self-conscious about a lot of other things. See, I've learned not to be self-conscious. As a performer, an actor, and a singer for more than 40 years of my life, we have to do crazy things. We have to dress in amazing, crazy, silly outfits. We sometimes have to do cartwheels or handstands. And guess what? We fall on our head. Yes, I've done that lots and lots of times. I've been in shows where I've had to twirl batons and do trapeze and all sorts of that stuff when I was first starting out. And guess what? Once I dropped my baton and it rolled off the stage, and I had to keep going with air batons. It was super embarrassing at the time, but these things happen. These things happen, and you learn to just pick yourself up, do your air baton as though you're holding a baton, and then run off stage with a smile on your face. You learn to deal with anything that's thrown at you. So please, there's probably nothing wrong with your laugh, Kyle. It's probably perfectly fine. But here's the thing. If you are tending to be embarrassed about a lot of things, if you're tending to be embarrassed about being seen and being heard, and you're worried about people judging you all the time, then there's a lot of other things that need to be changed first rather than your laugh. And here's the thing I want you to know about laughs. This is super important for everybody. Have you ever noticed that some people just giggle at the end of every sentence? Have you ever noticed, do you know anybody that giggles at the end of every sentence? I know quite a few people in my studio that have done this when they first come. It's like, oh, yeah, and then they giggle. Here's why. Don't hate the people that do that, because they're dealing with something. When somebody giggles or laughs quite often in the middle of a phrase, it's because their nervous system is trying to disarm those nervous chemicals. Remember the adrenaline we talked about? So when the adrenaline is going round and round and round your body, it's fight or flight. Now these days, we don't really want to run and we don't really want to fight. So what we do is freeze. And then your body is trying to figure out, how can I get rid of all these awful chemicals that are making me all riled up and anxious? Well, the body then creates ways of getting rid of it. So how do we get rid of it? We laugh. That disarms some of those fear chemicals because it gets rid of some of that energy that's driving the body too fast at the moment. Another way is our hands shake. Another way is our voice shakes because of the adrenaline pumping through your body. Another way is your knees start to shake. Our heart starts to beat. Remember, all our body is trying to do is protect us from some sort of danger. So when we go into this little giggly laugh all the time, is literally just your nervous system trying to disarm itself. There's nothing wrong with that. You will learn to be more calm over time. So be patient with yourself, but don't just look at your laugh. Start to look at your inside and ask yourself, am I feeding myself from the inside with goodness, with good thoughts, with grounding the breath and, excuse me, feeling confident about myself? Because if you build your self-esteem and your confidence from the inside, Kyle, you won't be worried about your laugh. Who cares how you laugh? Do you remember that? I don't know if you've seen Mary Poppins. Some people laugh through their noses, sounding something like this. Some people laugh through their teeth, goodness sakes, hissing and sissing like snakes. It's funny, you know, people laugh in different ways. I know people, one of my physiotherapists sounds like, like Dracula from Sesame Street when he laughs. It's hilarious. I love it. I think it's really funny because he sounds like this little evil Dracula when he laughs. And, you know, one of my sons, he laughs like a little girl. His voice breaks and goes up because he's in that mid area where his voice is sort of in between two stages. There's nothing wrong with it. Have fun. Find the confidence within yourself. That's the most important thing you could do, and stop worrying about what other people think, because it's not that important. What you think about yourself is the most important thing. So start focusing on how good you are as a person and how much value you can give to the world. That's super important. Now let's go back to the comments for a second. Okay, what comments have we got here? Chris, fantastic. So is this Charlie or Chris? Oh my God, my eyes are going crazy. That fits me exactly, thanks. Bingo. Charlie, I'm so glad that you were here today. Perfect timing for you. Go and do the work, and please message me back after you've done some work and worked on what I talked about today, and then put it in the chat, in the comments, in my YouTube channel over the next couple of weeks. Let me know how you're going. I would love to follow up on that question. Now we've got Chris. I bought my eyes, my goodness. I bought a puppet to assist me in making live shows for kids about art. How can I best work on a second voice for the puppet, please? Chris, that is so awesome. And you know what? Working with props like that really helps you build confidence in your own ability to do things as well. So what a really great question. Look, Chris, I would start listening to lots of cartoons. Loads and loads of cartoons where people use these different types of voices. You know, some of the things that we can do with our vocal folds is super interesting. You can go really high, but here's the thing. It goes back to the first two questions. Lose your, what's it called? The fear of judgment. You've got to lose the fear of judgment and let it go.
So if I decide to speak like that, that's a really good puppet voice. So all I'm doing is actually speaking through my nose, but in a really high pitch. I'm making it really pointy.
That's just pulling my voice box up. If you're interested in the science, I literally raise my voice box really high. I stretch my vocal folds really thin. I put all of the sound into my nose, so hardly anything is coming out of my mouth, but I continue to clearly articulate so people can understand what I'm saying. So all the air is here, no air is here, good articulation, high voice box position, thin vocal fold closure, and really pointy resonance. That makes a completely different sound. So if you had heard me speaking like that, you probably wouldn't even know that that's me. right? So what I want you to do is listen to as many cartoon characters as you can, Chris, to answer this question. And then I want you to write down descriptions of each character. Just like I gave you that description right then, high pitch, nasal tone, pointy sound, write down these descriptions of that particular voice and start to play with what your instrument can do that's similar to that. We can't copy everybody. You can't be another Adele. We can't be another Celine Dion. It doesn't work because we have our own voice box. We have our own instrument and our own shaped face. So our physiology will determine what sort of sound that we make. We can't really do much about that, but we can move things, shape things, rise things, drop things, open things, close things, tense them up, let them go. This was a lot we can do with voice, but we have to do with the voice that we've been given, the voice box that we've been given. So go and copy people and write down the description of what they're doing, and then copy that description as best as you can with your instrument. I hope that helps, because it's super fun to be able to do lots of different voices, like Mary Poppins. You know, is very rounded, sort of throaty presence. Whereas when you go into like Cockney, they drop a lot of the ends of the words, and so it just sort of sounds really different. It's less articulation. So there's lots and lots of fun things that you can do with your voice. So go and have fun with it. Now we've got one more question, and this is from Snaps Akena. I have a strained voice and I speak from my chest, which puts out a crackly sound. What can I do? Now, Akena, here is a very common misperception. We have no vocal folds in our chest. So we can't actually speak from our chest, right? So here's what I think you're talking about. When we push and squeeze and force, what we're actually doing is holding the breath when we speak, and we're speaking in a very low pitch. So it makes us feel like the resonance is all stuck here in the lower part of the chest. If I spoke like that and tried to push and force and squeeze my voice out, it doesn't feel very comfortable. And yes, it would go crackly. Absolutely go crackly. So that's forcing too much airflow through the vocal folds while I'm tensing up and gripping with my chest, which is stopping the breath and arresting the breath. All of that is going to really ruin your voice. And yes, it's going to strain your voice. Now, another way we strain our voice is different to that again. It's by pushing too much airflow through while we're trying to speak. If we push or force or squeeze in any way, you're going to end up with a strained voice. But here's the thing too. A lot of young people, and especially girls, I don't know why, women under the age of 30, I usually get people coming to me with this issue around 26 when they've had enough of it. They all speak like that. So I don't know if you call that throaty for yourself, but if you speak right down in the lower pitch, in the very wrong vibration of vocal folds, this is called M0. It's way too slow because it doesn't sound good. And it's going to be crackly because I'm allowing too many muscles to fall and collapse on top of my vocal folds, which ends up with this vocal fry sound. Now, if I speak like that for a long time, oh my God, A, people wouldn't listen to me or take me seriously at all because it sounds like I'm depressed. And two, I would really hurt my voice because I'm not using the right muscles. I'm just literally not using the right muscles. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by that chesty thing, but I think it's one of those things that I've just told you. So the very first thing that you need to do is learn how to speak correctly. So yes, one of my courses will absolutely help. Probably the one that you need is called Save My Voice Foundational Training. I will put those links underneath the video today on YouTube. I think you're watching on YouTube, or is it Facebook? I'll put it on both just in case you want one of those courses. Save My Voice course is just all about the voice. It's a toolbox for people who use their voice every single day and they cannot afford to lose it. The other course, the Voice of Confidence Public Speaker Program, is really to help you gain the skills and the confidence that you need around public speaking. So that's a different type of course. So I'll put both of those links underneath the video today, just in case one of those might be a good fit for you. But here's what you're going to do first, Snaps Akena, to make sure that you start to take care of your voice first. Number one is you're going to drink water. much more water than you probably drink right now. Number 2, when you speak, you're going to make a commitment to speaking clear and projected every time you speak at a higher pitch. Clear, projected at a higher pitch. If you cannot commit to raising your pitch and being clear and concise when you're speaking, you're being too lazy. And if you are too tired to speak correctly, shut your mouth and have a rest, because that's what your voice really needs. It needs a rest. So if you're straining your voice, snaps Akena, I want you to stop it right now. Shut your mouth, give your voice a rest, hydrate, take some vitamin C. There's more videos on my channel about maintenance of the voice, so make sure that you search up on my channel, The Voice of Confidence TV. I've got at least 3 videos of voice care, voice maintenance, what to eat, what to drink, things like that. So that goes deep dive into more content. So that's all we have today. So I'm going to go over back to the comments for a second. You are so welcome, Chris. Chris says, thank you very much. I hope that helped. I would love to see your puppet shows and things like that. Please share your video links with us underneath the comments on my channel, because we'd love to support you as well and become fans of your channel. And LP has just joined us. Your cartoon voice sounds so much fun. Amazing to see how you can play with your voice and change it so quickly and easily. Yeah, and look, it's just, as I said to you guys today earlier, it's just losing that inhibition. That's the biggest thing you can do with your life, is lose the inhibition. Stop worrying about what other people think. Start working on yourself. Know that you are committed to becoming the highest and best version of you that you can possibly be. And if that means dealing with PTSD, dealing with the fact that maybe people don't listen to you or they're not paying attention to you, it's because of the way that you're speaking. Learn some skills around voice and public speaking. This will help everyone so much. Most people come to me because they say that they've got something wrong with their voice, or they have a problem with public speaking or a fear of some sort. When we really come down to the bottom layer of all this, it's always, always, always a mindset and psychology issue first before it becomes a voice issue. So always start to take care of yourself in a holistic perspective. That's why I'm a holistic voice coach. I know firsthand what role psychology and health plays in our whole system. So let's work on that. Let's work on us from the inside out, so then you can shine outward, not have to be externally validating, looking for other people to say that you're okay. Because you know what? You're okay. Just start working from the inside out. Okay, hope that was helpful for all of you guys today. Lovely to see my Instagram people here, and also on Facebook Live, and also on the Voice of Confidence TV in YouTube. If you have any comments about the questions that I've covered today, please just let me know. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.